A long time ago, in a faraway mystical land, there was a great city known as the City of Everlasting Slumber. It was a prosperous city filled with kind, honest people who loved nothing more than their sleep. They would spend their days working hard and then come home at night to enjoy a peaceful slumber. It was a beautiful sight to see how they would just peacefully drift off to dreamland. Their sleep was so peaceful that it inspired bards and poets for generations. One day, however, a mysterious mist rolled into the city, shrouding everything in darkness. As the mist settled and the sun rose again, the people of the city awoke, but something was wrong. They no longer felt the overwhelming urge to sleep. No matter how tired they were, sleep seemed like a distant memory. Days turned into weeks, and still the people couldn't sleep. They wandered the streets listlessly, unable to rest. Their eyes were dull and lifeless, their bodies gaunt and pale. The once vibrant city became a shadow of its former self. Among the afflicted was a young man named Aidan, a baker known for his delicious bread and pastries. Now he wandered the empty market square, his bakery abandoned, his eyes hollow, haunted by the memory of sleep. Aidan had always been a curious person. Even when the sleep curse had befallen him, that spark of curiosity hadn't faded. He noticed patterns in the sky, unusual animal behavior, and the strange fact that everyone seemed to have lost their dreams. While others saw only despair, Aidan saw a mystery to be solved. Determined to find a solution, he set out on a journey, leaving the silent city behind. After many days of walking, he came across an old woman tending to her garden. She was the only person he'd seen in a long time, and he approached her cautiously. To his surprise, she was not affected by the curse. She slept soundly every night and woke up refreshed. Intrigued, Aidan asked her for help, and the old woman, wise and knowing, listened patiently to his tale. When he finished, she didn't speak right away, but after a moment, she finally broke the silence. "You carry the burden of your city on your shoulders," she said, her voice raspy but kind. "But the answer you seek lies not in the future, but in the past. Return to the city, but do not go alone." Taking her advice, Eden returned to the city, but this time he wasn't alone. The old woman had given him a small pouch filled with herbs that gave him courage. With renewed determination, he walked through the deserted streets, observing everything in detail. He remembered the legends his grandmother used to tell him about the city's founding. According to the tales, the city's prosperity and peace had been bestowed upon them by a benevolent spirit that lived in the heart of the forest surrounding the city. Could this spirit be the answer? Armed with this new theory, he ventured into the very same forest. After hours of searching, he found a clearing, and in the center stood an ancient tree. Its branches reached towards the sky like gnarled fingers, and beneath it lay a stone monolith covered in strange symbols. As he examined the monolith, suddenly the ground began to shake. The tree's branches twisted and writhed as if in pain. Then, from the center of the monolith, a figure emerged. It was a creature of pure darkness, its form constantly shifting, its eyes burning red in the dim light. Its presence was like a physical blow, knocking the air out of his lungs. Fear threatened to overwhelm him, but he pushed it down, remembering the suffering of his people. Taking a deep breath, he confronted the creature, demanding answers. The creature let out a chilling laugh that echoed through the forest. "Who are you?" Ethan demanded, his voice echoing in the stillness of the woods. "You may call me Morpheus," the creature replied, its voice a chorus of whispers, "And I am the reason for your city's eternal wakefulness." With that, it vanished, leaving Ethan shaken but determined to uncover the truth. Back in the city, he shared his discovery with the townspeople. At first, they didn't believe him, thinking he'd imagined the whole thing. But then he produced the herbs from the old woman's garden, proof that there was indeed a forest outside their cursed city. Though still skeptical, they agreed to follow him to the forest to confront Morpheus. As they entered the forest, they could feel the oppressive presence of Morpheus watching them. But they pressed on, reaching the clearing and the ancient tree. Here the creature's power seemed strongest, twisting the tree's branches into grotesque shapes. Despite their fear, they gathered around the monolith, each person sharing their dreams, hopes, and memories. And then together they began to chant, their voices rising in a powerful chorus. Suddenly the monolith began to glow, bathing the clearing in a brilliant light. The chanting grew louder, shaking the very foundations of the forest. As the climax approached, Ethan realized this wasn't just about breaking a curse. It was about reclaiming a part of themselves that Morpheus had stolen. Their dreams, their hopes, their connection to the world beyond their prison of wakefulness. With a final surge of power, they broke the curse. The townspeople fell to their knees, tears streaming down their faces as sleep finally embraced them. The gentle rise and fall of their breaths replaced the haunting silence of the sleepless nights. As the first rays of dawn touched the horizon, they slept, their faces filled with peace. When he awoke, he was filled with relief, joy, and a sense of accomplishment. The weight of the curse, which had felt like a physical burden, lifted from his shoulders. The sun streamed through his window, painting the room in a warm glow, and the chirping of birds filled the air. For the first time in what felt like forever, he slept late, his dreams a comforting blanket, until the morning light nudged him awake. He wasn't sure how long he slept, but when he opened his eyes, the sky had turned a brilliant blue, and the sun was high overhead. He got up, feeling surprisingly refreshed. The events of the last few days replayed in his mind, and he couldn't help but smile. He rushed to the window and looked out at the town. The streets were bustling with activity. People went about their day with a newfound energy, their laughter echoing through the town. He could see children playing in the market square, their joyous shouts a melody to his ears. The baker across the street was pulling fresh loaves of bread from his oven, their golden-hued crusts glistening in the sunlight. The smell of baking bread, a scent he'd missed so much, wafted through the air, making his stomach rumble. He got out of bed and stretched, feeling a surge of energy. Today was going to be a good day, he thought, a smile tugging at his lips. As he made his way downstairs, the sounds of the town filled his ears, each one a testament to the life that had been restored. The rhythmic clang of the blacksmith's hammer, the soft murmur of people going about their daily business, the distant bleating of sheep from the fields beyond town. It was a symphony of existence, a celebration of life that he had almost forgotten. He paused at the top of the stairs, taking it all in. The warmth of the sun on his skin, the sweet aroma of flowers wafting up from the street, the vibrant colors of a merchant's stall in the distance. He closed his eyes, savoring the moment. Life was good. He went back upstairs to get changed, pulling on a fresh set of clothes. He decided to visit the old woman who had helped him. He wanted to thank her properly, to show her that her belief in him had not been misplaced. As he walked towards the forest, a sense of gratitude filled him. not just for the restoration of his town, but for the strength he'd found within himself. He had faced his fears and had come out stronger on the other side. He was no longer just a baker. He was a hero. He had saved his people from a fate worse than death. And as he walked, he couldn't help but wonder what new adventures lay ahead. The world, once confined to the borders of their cursed town, now seemed full of possibilities. He was ready to explore, to discover, to live